Okay, let me get everything organized here. Are we ready to fly? I guess we are. Oops. Got to keep things rolling here. Okay, we're in the J3 Cub, and we're at Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. I'm doing the virtual tourist thing here again. I'm going to do a little rambling on what I think a YouTube channel reviewer or commentator on VR should give you, what you deserve from us. But I'm also going to look for my vacation golf course. I don't know where to go yet. I've got friends who want to go to the States, but I kind of want to go to Mexico so I can work on my Spanish, which I'm trying to learn now. I speak English reasonably well, and I have some French. Now, where's my parking brake and why isn't it going off? Something odd going on here. There it is. Sometimes I just forget what key I've mapped. Don't tell me I have to hold it on. Oh, yeah, I think it's this weird. Okay. Yeah, I think the brake is kind of stuck on, so let's just not over control here. I haven't flown in a couple of weeks because I actually made a video about 8 days ago, the first day that I was sick with this bloody cold I'm suffering from. This is day 8 of this cold, and I'm still having trouble breathing and coughing up funny looking stuff and all that. You'll excuse me if I have to turn away from the microphone and cough now and then. I'll try not to. But I'm looking to take a holiday someplace warm this winter because I'm really getting too old to deal with Canadian winters anymore. I need a break from it, and I'd like to play some golf in the winter. So I'm looking for a place to go, and a friend of mine, my great nephew by marriage, in fact, is from Guadalajara, which I believe is kind of due east of Puerto Vallarta. But anyway, Puerto Vallarta. Did I say that right? I don't know. I'm working on it. So I'm just going to cruise around here and take a good look, as only the arrow can give you. And I have dynamic foveated rendering on, I think. I'm not going to mess about with it in this video. Everything, I'm getting 31 to 37 frames per second, which on my 3090 with the settings I have in Flight Sim is okay. It's better than what I'm used to. I don't know if I have DFR on or not, and frankly I'm not feeling quite well enough to fart around with stuff like that today. So we're just going to cruise around and enjoy the scenery in the Piper J3 Cub. People called it the safest airplane in the world because it could just barely kill you. Well, you can get killed in just about any automobile too, or a bicycle, or a skateboard. An unfortunate chap I knew at university tripped while hiking in the mountains and hit his head on a rock and died. So it's a strange world in which we're trying to make everybody completely safe. As an educator, I kind of lament it, because when I was a kid, we had snowball fights in the schoolyard, and there were big mounds of snow, and they cleared the snow from the immediate playground area and the parking lots. And so we'd play King of the Hill and try and get to the top and push the other team down. We'd have colossal snowball fights, and now kids can't do any of that stuff anymore. God forbid. I formed an aviation club at the high school I was teaching at, and we were associated with the town flying club, and the kids loved it. They got to work with the pilots and the club, when they had their fly-in days and their pancake breakfasts, and in return they got rides in the airplanes and little lessons on flying and got to sit in on some cool stuff. And then the insurance company shut me down. They said that not only were the kids not allowed to ride in a privately owned airplane, they couldn't even sit in one when it wasn't moving or running on the ground. I asked them if we were covered if somebody released the contents of an airline's lavatory over top of us. Anyway, they didn't think that was very funny. But in our efforts to sanitize and protectorize, I'll coin a term, our children, we're denying them experiences that the older generations got. I mean, we got to have fun throwing snowballs at each other, and nobody thought it was sexist or evil or bad or anything like that. It was just fun. And we got to go on trips. Now even the travel clubs can't be school-based anymore because school insurance won't cover it. I was an instructor in a glider club.
Puerto Vallarta Tower Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra frequency change. Puerto Vallarta Approach Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra is type 2 miles northeast of Puerto Vallarta, 2,500 feet. Request flight following. Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Puerto Vallarta Approach. Squawk 7777. Squawk 7777 X-ray Golf Sierra. X-ray Golf Sierra radar contact 2 miles east of Puerto Vallarta, 2,800 feet. Altimeter 29.902. Roger, X-ray Golf Sierra.
Okay, I had to wait for them to stop talking. Excuse me. I think I was saying I was an instructor in a glider club, and the club used to take high school kids out and give them familiarization rides in our gliders, and then the insurance company shut that down too. I think we could have kept going because the glider club itself had more insurance than the school insurance was willing to provide in any case, but it just didn't seem worth the fight. So now kids don't do ski trips to the mountains anymore. They don't. I'm surprised they still allow kids to play sports in school. But anyway, we're making society I don't know how to say it. I think it's just so safe that kids never really learn to take a risk, and they always think somebody's going to be there to protect them. That no matter what happens, someone will make sure they're okay. That's not the way the real world works. You got to look after yourself. I think I saw a golf course over to the left. I believe I also meant to ramble a bit in this short video, which I'm going to try and keep short, I promise, about what YouTubers owe you. I think if you're doing a reaction video, an honest reaction is what a YouTuber owes you. But they should provide a caveat that says their reaction is their reaction. May not be yours. And the headset might fit them perfectly, and the audio might be wonderful for them, but your mileage may vary. Likewise, they may see chromatic aberration that you won't see. And a lot of times people see it in the crystal just because they don't have the headset adjusted properly, which is where the auto IPD is nice, because it will monitor and make sure that your eyes are centered in the headset, which removes a lot of the distortion that's possible if you don't have the headset centered. But if we're doing an actual review of a product, if we're acting like reporters, then I think we have a duty to do some research, to know what we're talking about before we make sweeping statements about the G2 or what's, other than Pimax, what's been a target for hate? I don't know if anybody's been as much a target for hate as Pimax, but I've heard criticisms of the Meta headsets, other than the Quest 2, which everybody likes, mostly because of its price point. I think it's a hugely easy headset to use. There's a lot to like about it. But people, reviewers, should look at all the evidence they can find and then form an opinion and then test it and then find more evidence and see if they still hold that opinion. That's what we owe you. What we shouldn't do is watch a couple of videos that crap on something or praise it to the skies and adopt that as our opinion, and then only look for evidence that supports that. And that's what too many YouTubers do. You know, they'll ignore 10,000 positive reports on something and zoom in on a couple of bad ones, or do the reverse. And sometimes it's just fun to pile on, isn't it? They'll find a whipping boy, and that tends to be Pimax, and just pile on the anti-Pimax bandwagon. And you know, I wouldn't say that I'm not ever on that bandwagon. There are times when Pimax has really left me kind of angry, you know, and I've had some fairly animated discussions with Pimax people and done some fairly critical videos. My latest issue is the thing that bothers me is I don't understand why Pimax keeps using reviewers as beta testers. Why do we send prominent YouTube, I mean Pimax, not me, I don't work for them. Why send prominent YouTube reviewers products that aren't complete? You know, oh, this guy really likes us, he'll be good to us. No, come on. It's not his job to be good to you. It's not her job to praise you to the skies if your product isn't up to snuff. That's something I've discussed ad nauseum with Pimax. And then the latest thing is, even now, before I even see a piece of kit as a beta tester, it's in the hands of some reviewer. You know, like the base station faceplates that allow you to switch your faceplate and then use base station tracking if you want. I got mine just before I got sick. And that was about, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks after guys like VR Flight Sim Guy and others already had them and were testing them. So, you know, once again, we're using reviewers as beta testers and hoping all will be well. And for that particular product, I think, okay, yeah, it worked that time because the product is excellent. Nobody's had a bit of trouble with it. As far as I know, the problems have been minor. And YouTubers owe you honesty. If they've had a bad time with Pimax service, they need to explain that, detail what has happened, and explain that it could happen to you. But if they've had a good experience, it would be nice to hear that too. Like, I had generally good experiences with Pimax service, and not all my Pimax experiences have been great. I mean, with the 8KX, I needed a lot of technical support to get that running, and I got it from the community and from Pimax. But that headset was basically, yeeks, it was I love it now, but it was a tricky headset to use, and a lot of the criticisms that reviewers made were valid. And with the Crystal, well, my experience was basically flawless. I plugged it in, I set it up, it worked. Excuse me again. Oh boy, I don't know if I'll be able to put this video up, but But I did have one problem. I mean, when we got to do the eye tracking hardware in my headset, which was a pre-production model, didn't work. So they had me ship it back, and within a week I had a new one in which everything did work. And, I mean, they were great. They were great to deal with for me. So I don't hesitate to say so. But I do need to recognize that that hasn't been everyone's experience. And I like to think, in fact, I'm pretty sure, I can assure you, that Pimax does work on improving customer service. They're a little company that got big almost too fast. Oh, look at the shadow of the airplane down there. Isn't that cool? But they do really work on customer service. But I think they need to treat their beta testers better. No. They actually treat us pretty good. But this whole thing with YouTubers getting untested products when they've got a beta test crew, it comes down to being in too big a hurry, I think. Anyway, before I cough your ears out, let's see if I can land this Piper Cub. That golf course looked nice. I don't know which one it was. But frankly, when it's 40 below in Canada, I'll be happy with just about any golf course at 70 or 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius. In February, yeah, I'll be happy with that. Excuse me. I've had the mix leaned out a little bit, so we'll come to that. Is that working for me or not? Well, I guess. Throttle's working. Okay. Oh, boy. All right. It's nice how clear the instrument cluster is from the back seat. By the way, with the early Cubs, this is where you flew it from if you're flying solo. You couldn't fly it from the front seat. The weight and balance would be way off. So, all right, this isn't working out too bad. It's kind of a weird approach, but it's kind of the story of my life. Not exactly a straight in, not exactly a base approach. So we'll just side slip down here a bit. Get over the runway. Lots of runway to play with. Alright. Now look at the far end of the runway here. Let's try and keep the nose straight here. Not bad for an old fat man in a cruel world. Easy on the brakes. Don't want to nose the little bugger over. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you can tolerate my ranting. All the things that I've described in the YouTube are what I try to deliver you, but I'm not perfect. Sometimes I make mistakes, and when I do, I have to correct them. When I change my opinion, when better evidence comes along, I feel obligated to file a correction, just like a reporter would. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every one of you and every minute of time you spend with me. We'll talk to you soon.